Gleðileg hrekkjavaka. Happy Halloween month. And yes, month, because I hate Christmas coming earlier than necessary. And of course for Halloween, why not recommend a little something on the spectrum of spooky fun to genuinely horrifying. Before that though, viewer discretion is advised. I do not make videos for a younger audience, and what I'm about to cover is for an older demographic. You have been warned. With that out of the way, let's start with Batman. Mike Mignola really has become one of my favorite artists/writer in the sequential medium, not only creating the household legend known as Hellboy, but for also having the best comic book universes out there, the Mignolaverse. I know he hates the name, but there really is no better description for it. But before Hellboy's first story in Seed of Destruction, and for all the well-actuallys about to type in the comments, yes, I'm fully aware of Hellboy's first appearance, as we all know him was in John Byrne's Next Men issue number 21, but that was a glorified advertisement, as John Byrne was brought on to help Mignola script his first story in Seed of Destruction, and not to mention, the Next Men issue isn't even canon to the Hellboy character. Sorry, getting a little bit sidetracked here. Anyway, before all that, Batman's Sanctum served as the proto-Hellboy story.
I came out of that book going, that's what I do. That is my kind of story. Wasn't sure I could write my own stuff, but I did like making up the stuff. And then the thought was, well, do I do this with Wolverine? How many times are they going to let me do a supernatural Batman story? How am I going to get away with continuing to do stories like that? Who's my guy?
And who was your guy?
That was Hellboy.
The premise? Batman takes on a murderer in a cemetery, but gets severely wounded and starts to bleed out in a coffin. All the while, Batman appears in a strange house with an even stranger occupant, who knows way more than what he lets on. Without spoiling anything, there are elements of Lovecraft and vampires within this singular issue that it's simply a no-brainer that it's a Halloween read, all while rendered in that gorgeous Mignola style that you've all come to know and love.
That's when Mike becomes Mike. All of a sudden, he goes full expressionistic.
What I loved about that Legends of the Dark Knight comic was it really brought the gothic side of Batman. You really got the sense that this entire comic was lit by candlelight because of so much black. And his use of shadows and silhouette are just, fantastic.
There's really nothing more else to it than that. It's just, you have to read it. And if anything, that was a quickie. It simply is a really good Halloween read. Next. Yeah, not quite done with Mike just yet. Honestly, any Hellboy story could actually make a good Halloween read, from The Crooked Man, The Midnight Circus, to even Hellboy in Mexico, but I want my audience to experience the very best of quality. And what other better introduction to the blue-collar investigator of the night than one of the best stories, both written and illustrated, in the character's history. And literally, one that Mignola had the best time coming together with.
And then the third one I did was funny. That was a real breakout moment for me. I had so much fun drawing it, and then when it was over, I looked at it and went, oh my God, it's unpublishable. And then everybody said, oh, it's the best thing you've ever done.
Hellboy the Corpse is short, but it delivers a lot of story. It's one of the best ones we've ever done, honestly.
This is when I thought it reached an apex. It's like a song. It's so perfect and concise.
So it's the best thing I've ever done, and it's the most fun I ever had. I guess that's pretty good.
In this story, Hellboy investigates a Fae abduction case involving an Irish baby in 1959, and in order to bring her home, Hellboy has to find a spare burial for a living corpse within a certain time limit, all the while being hounded by a recurring villain, Grugach. It's so good that not only is it on everybody's recommended list, Mike literally used it as bribing material.
And I remember I bribed Del Toro to remove one scene from the movie.
Gothic crib. Like 10 stories high, rocking softly in the wind. And there was a little baby in the middle. And Mike says, no, that's so stupid.
I couldn't run the risk of Hellboy showing up in a giant crib. So I gave him a few pages from the corpse so that Hellboy wouldn't show up on Earth in a giant crib.
I said, I'll trade it for 4 pages of the corpse.
Enough said. Next. Dante's Inferno, one of the most enduring work of fanfiction ever published. Hell, its original concepts are so popular it's still getting stolen to this day. I'm assuming most people know what the story is, but I'll do a short summary anyway. Dante's Inferno is part 1 of a 3-act story called The Divine Comedy. And no, it does not refer to an open mic night at the pearly gates. In this context, comedy is for divinely justified, i.e.
Police, get what you f***ing deserve!
The story follows Dante's journey throughout the realms of the Christian afterlife, while still having a few Greek mythological references as well. The first trip is through hell, the second is through purgatory, and then finally ending with paradise. However, the first story is the most popular with its depiction of hell, which you should not be surprised at all. Hell is sort of like serial killings. You don't ever want to be there, but man, is it fascinating to learn about. Ladies. Now finally in graphic novel form by the Britzy brothers. I actually got a physical copy of this while visiting England. We'll meet one day, Nathan, I promise. And folks, my jaw hit the floor at these masterpiece illustrations. The art style is very reminiscent of Gustave Doré's depictions of the Inferno, and best of all, the ancient Italian political jazz from the original story that did nothing but pull me out of the story, gone. Now one thing to bear in mind, this story is purely the Inferno. There is no setup for purgatory. Dante's journey ends with him escaping hell and getting reunited with Beatrice. So if you just wanted the Inferno, you are in luck. I do understand some people will be disappointed there isn't going to be more, but honestly, folks, I'm more than happy with just this, and I'm looking forward to whatever the Britzy brothers are cooking up in the future. Next. No word of a lie, I completely picked up this story on a complete whim, thinking it would at least be interesting, but man, did it take me by surprise. The story follows a disgraced former policeman, Nawa Kanetsuku, who is finally given parole for good behavior after being sentenced for 18 years in prison for killing one of the murderers who took the lives of his wife and child. I know Japan does things differently, but seriously, who would actually blame him? He lost his families to this creep, seriously! If this had happened here, first off, there would be a lot of condolences. But second, after a long enough time had passed, the first beer would be served ice cold for free at every bar in town. Anyway, during his parole, he tracks down the other creep and tries to kill him. Unfortunately, the creep appears to be immortal and stabs Nawa. However, Nawa isn't dead and seems to be transforming into a Cthulhu monster, all the while our Reaper watches in anticipation. Again, no spoilers, but not only did the story grab me instantly, but the artwork is gorgeous! Best of all, it's only 3 volumes, so don't fret about having to buy another long-running manga series. Now, if you have read it, please do tell me how you feel about the ending, because I'm a little bit mixed on it, because for me at least, it does seem to just end way too quickly. Still, I enjoy my time with it, and I severely hope they don't make an anime adaptation, because they're going to use 3D, and it's gonna look so awful. My hombres might remember that one time I was working on a video about this particular graphic novel, but I quit after realizing the amount of stuff that I would have to censor. I mean, you would not even believe it. Still, it's Halloween, how could I resist? Requiem Vampire Night is written by Judge Dredd veteran Pat Mills and illustrated by Olivier Ledoux, who's more known for his work on Heroes of Might and Magic. When these two creative minds come together, the result is the edgiest story I have ever read. Spawn, complete pretender. The Darkness, don't make me laugh. The Crow, okay, it's still edgy, but still not in the same league as Requiem. How edgy is it? Put it this way. You have a German soldier protagonist during World War II who dies and resurrects in a place called Resurrection, which is basically hell/purgatory, and changes his name to Requiem, who joins the vampires as a soldier who are referred to at one point as the Knight of Eternal Darkness, joins them in an attack in the 23rd century London that's in a civil war with Fed troopers and mutant rebels, while riding a freaking ghost horse to slay some mutant filth, who had a German Jew love interest who now exists as a ghost haunting his every dreams. This is all the first story, by the way, and illustrated in the heaviest of heavy metal styles both I and you will ever see, period. Bear in mind, this story has been in the works since November 2000. 25 years in the works, and only recently did it get a dedicated omnibus hitting the shelves. In fairness, it takes a long time to illustrate to this degree, and the effort is on display. Bit of a warning though, if you are a bit squeamish with gory details, this might not be for you, but for edgelords like me, it's a Halloween requirement. Well, that does it for Halloween, but if things go according to plan, Christmas might have a little something in store as well. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon. Have a spooktacular night.